My name is Judy Norley. I am the owner of RedCup Learning, and I'm the author of Upfront, Persuasion Through Presentation. For the past couple years, all of us have been relegated to being seated, giving our presentations in front of a Zoom screen or a Teams screen, somehow never moving out of a chair. Presentations have gone well, but now that businesses are starting to open up again, you may need to present in front of a live audience. And let me tell you, being seated presenting and standing when presenting are two very different animals. First of all, when you stand up, your arms go kerflooey. I don't know what happens. We cross them, we fiddle with them, we protect ourselves, we get close, we drop them into areas that are also protective. We go anywhere with our arms except to the neutral position. And that is exactly how I want you to open your presentations, neutrally. I want the audience to see you, and I want you to say to that audience, go ahead, shoot me with arrows, I can take it, because I'm ready and I'm open to what you have to say. The purpose of this presentation is to introduce some very intentional gestures for you to use when you once again are in front of a live audience. I'm going to be talking about gestures. I'm going to be talking about body language. When do you move? Because you can't just stand there like a tree. Eye contact. How do you really connect with the people in your audience? And certainly your voice projection. That's going to be important, as important as it was when you were seated virtually. Please feel free to stop this recording at any time, practice what I've talked about, and then start it back up again. But most importantly, I want you to incorporate some of these ideas into your presentations that you'll be recording. It's intentional. Just be intentional. Don't be accidental. That's going to be the theme of this entire recording. We're going to start with how to open your presentations. Literally, how to open your presentation. I want you to stand in front of your audiences in this nice neutral position. I want you to take a breath, look around, just glance at the people in the audience, smile at them, and then wish them good morning. And pause. That pause will feel to you like an hour and a half, but I promise it's long enough for you to get grounded and for your audience to really focus on you. So many times people say, good morning, now that and they're in the pool talking already, and the audience is just getting used to finding you. Take that moment, take that pause, wish them good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is, and pause in this nice, neutral, open position. In a moment, I'm going to talk about other positions you should take to be really an interesting presenter. Now that we've talked about how to open in front of a live audience, let's talk more about those intentional gestures. The best way to remember is by learning it by zone. That neutral position I spoke about, zone 1. At your sides, if you have trouble staying there, because this is not how we usually stand. It's very difficult, it feels awkward. Touch your middle finger next to maybe the seam in your slacks or your pants, but just lightly touch your legs so that you know that that's neutral. You don't have to stay here very long because obviously you're going to gesture, but that's zone 1. Zone 2, above the waist. Now, this is above the waist, this is above the waist, this is above the waist, this is above the waist. Those are perfectly fine positions, but you don't want to always just be here. You don't want to always just be here, but certainly you don't want to be protective always in the middle of your body. You can speak here, but again, you don't want to stay here. Zone 2. Zone 3 is out here. Zone 3 is away from your body. It can be, how many of you have ever? That's up and away. It can be, yay, that's up and out. It can be all of you, that's outside of your body. It can be below, that you're demonstrating something. It can be pushing something away, bringing something in. But notice, I'm outside of my torso. Now, the idea to be intentional is to be in all 3 zones periodically. Here's another rule. Anticipate the gesture, finish your sentence, and then put the gesture away. Anticipate, gesture, put the gesture away. Anticipate, gesture, put the gesture away. What you should be noticing is how I am holding a gesture, because your audience will listen to that sentence for as long as that gesture is held. And then you put it away. Then you start a new paragraph with another gesture. And then you put it away. It's better to hold the gesture and then start again, rather than, here's one thing that I've always known that I should be doing differently, because, did you notice? The gestures never stop and they never go down. I want you to finish your idea and then put the gesture away, and then start it back up again and put it away. Someone recently asked me when I was introducing these 3 zones and demonstrating gestures, Judy, does it ever get natural? Does it ever get easy? Because this feels so stiff. It feels like I'm being artificial when I'm doing this. And it may feel that way to you, but truly, to the audience, it feels like you are very much in control of your body. And then they know that you have a new idea coming out. Maybe it's a new idea they've never heard about, but that's a new idea. And then you put your gesture away. So try to avoid beating the drum. Some people beat the drum on every single word that they say. Therefore, no word is important, because every word is important. But rather, I want you to emphasize a word if it's critical. This is no way to do things, I could say. So I'm gesturing, I'm underlining that line. We've got a couple ways we could go with this. We could go the tough road, or we could go the easy road. I'm going to suggest that we go the tough road. Again, you're using your gestures to help the audience visualize what you're saying. You choose your gestures carefully to describe your words. Let's paint a picture here. Now, this isn't miming, but it's enhancing something that you're saying so that the audience can almost see the words as you gesture to them. Again, it won't feel completely natural. I've done this for years. It's feeling more natural for me. But you've got to think about it. And truly, when was the last time you thought about your arms? We just don't think about that. But that's what I'm asking of you. I want you to think about your gestures and make them interesting. The entire goal of this is to prevent your gesturing, your accidental movements, whether it's shifting weight, whether it's gesturing too much, too busy, that might prevent someone from really hearing your message. And the message is the most important thing. The gesture simply enhances that. So don't forget, zone 1, zone 2, or zone 3, which could be out here. It doesn't have to be both hands. It could be one arm, 2 arms, low, high. but I want you to mix it all up. Movement is important. You don't want to shift your weight. You don't want to rock. You don't want to move intentionally. A lot of people say, gee, I just like to wander around. Well, that's nice for you because it gets rid of all that energy. Not so nice for your audiences. They're trying to find you as you're moving around. So intentionally move. When you change topics, take a couple steps to your right. Come back to the center if you need to. Maybe there's a new topic and you take a couple steps to your left, but you come back. You could say, for example, and then you take a couple steps and talk about that example, and then come back to the center of the stage. The next thing we'll talk about has to do with eye contact. How do you really make connections with everybody in your audience? We have covered how to open, given your body language in front of a live audience. We've talked about the 3 zones, and now let's cover eye contact. I live here in Wisconsin. They have state fairs here. They also have those interesting places where you can grab a fake rifle and shoot down some metallic ducks. What I noticed, I'm using an analogy here, is that it takes about 3 shots to get one of those ducks down. And I thought that's exactly what happens in front of our audiences. We have to look at each person in our audience about 3 beats before they really feel that connection with us. 3 beats. Let's think of our audience as those ducks, and your job is to shoot the ducks. 3 beats here, 3 beats here, 3 beats here. You can't be linear. You can't go around the room like this, 3 beats. You have to be random. But everyone deserves your eye contact, whether it's the most important person in the room and someone they brought with them. You still spread the eye contact everywhere by really connecting with those ducks, smiling at them, gesturing towards them, but staying with them for those 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You might practice. I've put up little tags around my offices sometimes, a blue tag that I stay for 3 beats, a red tag, a yellow dot. Anything that keeps reminding you to spend a little more time with the people in your audience than you might otherwise have done. Finally, I'd like to talk about voice. When you're in front of an audience, you need to project your voice to the back of the room. You also need to pull your voice in so it's more intimate, but you can't be dropping off the cliff. You have to finish your sentences. You have to speak as loudly at the end of your sentence as you do at the beginning of your sentence. So many times I hear people say a really important thing that just drops off the table. And what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Make sure that your voice is projected. Make sure it's got some modulation to it. You have to go up when it's necessary, go down when it's necessary. Move it around. You don't have to do that drastically. For some people whose voices are more flattened, maybe you'll have to exaggerate some more. But certainly, you need to move your voice to reflect the energy that you want to project to your audience. Intentional. Have you gotten that message? Intentional body movements, intentional gestures, intentional voice, and intentional eye contact. Practice, practice, practice. I am not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be authentic and to be clear in your messaging, as clear in your gestures as you are with your message. Good luck. We'll look forward to working with you at some future date. Bye now.